Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Hawk, and this is PropTech Today. On the program with me today, Sean Scarlotta from mobilevideoguard.com. Shawn, welcome to the program. I'm happy to have you on.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of interesting how we met. We were both at the New York Build Expo in Javits Center about 6 or 8 weeks ago, ran into each other. At that time, I was really fascinated about what you guys are doing as a firm. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, talk a bit about your background and Mobile Video Guard.
Absolutely. So again, I'm Sean Scarlotta. I am the founder and owner of Mobile Video Guard. Company was started in 2016 as Smart Security Pros. We do business as Mobile Video Guard. I had a background in law enforcement and security guard services. So I was 22 years on a Washington, D.C. metropolitan area police department, then had a security guard firm with about 350 employees. And I just kept telling myself there's got to be a better way, a way to do this more effectively and more cost efficient for in particular, construction clients. We have a pretty big focus on the construction side of the world. And that's where Mobile Video Guard was born. We designed and kind of put together different parts and components to come up with a compact box design there's two versions of it. One of them has 2 camera lenses on it. One of them has 4. It's got a loudspeaker on there. It's got red and blue lights. And they're made to be temporarily installed. In some cases, they are more permanently installed. They're there long term, but most, the original intent and design was meant to be a temporary install that went up on a pole, the side of a building, whatever have you. And once it's got power to it, whether that be through local 120, 110 power or some type of battery backup or solar system, it then feeds into our monitoring center. So we have our own monitoring center here. We're located in Washington, just outside of Washington, D.C. in Lanham, Maryland. We have all the operators report here, and they are monitoring sites across the nation 24 hours a day. So obviously most of that is after hours, is overnights, but we do have some 24-hour sites. And we are currently in about 39 states from West Coast to East Coast.
It's pretty amazing footprint. Really credit to your background and the expertise you bring to the industry. So if we take that apart a little bit, if you look at construction in the past and how companies, builders were securing the sites in the past, what they would do is put, a security guard or guards in cars, hope that they would stay awake, over long, rigorous hours. And, now a lot of that is being replaced by solutions like yours, where from a central command center and through, consoles, you can observe the site. So I guess kind of talk about the major differences from how a virtual guarding center can scale versus, physical guards in the field.
Yeah, so the physical guarding world, while there are applications that a physical guard is needed and is appropriate, there's a lot of applications that use physical guards that I don't think it's the best option. And having been in that world, there is frustration, right? You as a business owner and a manager, and you've got people that fall asleep, like you said. There's people that show up to work and then they've got to, even if they've just got to leave to go down the street to refuel the car or get dinner or a snack, they're leaving that site unprotected during that period of time. And at the end of the day, if they're going to stay awake and if they're going to be alert, and if they're going to walk around the site and check the perimeter hourly or every 30 minutes, they still can only see what's within their eyesight, right? So if they're looking down a fence line, they have no idea what's going on behind them, other than by sound. So the larger the site, the harder it is for a guard to be able to adequately protect it. If you switch over to a virtual guard service or a camera service like ours, you have multiple sets of eyes on that site that are all reporting and taking in information at the same time and alerting an operator here when any one or multiple detect intrusion or detect activity. So there could be people coming in on the north side and on the south side and on the east side, and they're getting those alarms all at the same time. If they're all coming over the fence at the same time, those alarms are coming in back to back, and they know there's somebody coming in on every side. Whereas with a person, you're only going to see what's in front of you.
Sean, for the people listening in, and I thought this was fascinating when we first got to talking, how rampant are the issues on the sites? I mean, I thought it was a little bit of an issue when I spoke with you, and as we got to know each other, you've really opened my eyes to the fact that it is a pervasive issue. It's a widespread issue. And in some cases, you're seeing certain sites that are being infiltrated multiple times in the course of an evening. So I guess for the people listening in, talk a little bit about, across the footprint of clients, how much activity you're really seeing at the sites.
It varies. There's no, set night. Like I know Saturday nights are going to have X number of intrusions, but there are dozens of they handle dozens of incidents per night across all of our sites. Location, kind of the old real estate term, right? Depending on where that site is going to have some effect on the number of attempts or intrusions that they have. But even in the best of areas or the most remote of areas, it's still a problem. Unfortunately, a lot of it is, and I know this from law enforcement days, and I know it even more now that I've gotten to know that construction industry more, is unfortunately it is a lot of times inside jobs, right? So it's, any general contractor, project manager, superintendent will probably vouch for this, that the day they get copper delivered, within a couple of nights, there's going to be an attempt, if not a theft of copper, right? So the only way that happens is either by chance, the criminal happened to be outside of the site and saw the delivery happen, or somebody that's on that site, and these sites have hundreds of people on them every day, mentioned to somebody back home or whatever, like, hey, they got a bunch of copper delivered, or I know where all the tools are being kept. And so what we've seen is that our general contractors and customers that use us on project after project after project, that the number of incidents goes down. I haven't specifically tracked it. It's something we're actually starting to do now. But just kind of anecdotally, I know that a company, or I can think of a certain general contractor off the top of my head, started with us in 17 with their first site. We're now probably 10 projects in, across several different project managers and project teams. But that general contractor has fewer attempts and or incidents than many others, right? Because they've used it consistently on every project. And the people on site, those hundreds of people that are there every day, they know that there's cameras. They see them. They're working during the day. We're just not monitoring, right? So there's plenty of times that an accident will happen on site or a theft will happen on site during the daytime hours, or something is misplaced or missing, and they'll ask us to review the footage. We pull it, and hey, look, this subcontractor accidentally picked up this power tool or whatever it may be. And when presented with that video evidence, I think mentally it just kind of changes the dynamic on that site, in that kind of big brother's watching. They know that there's a chance they're going to get caught if they start doing bad things at the job site.
Interesting. Talk a little bit about, okay, there's monitoring going on. You see activity on the site. It appears to be illicit behavior. What happens from there? How do you handle it from a remote data center that could be on the other side of the country?
Yeah. So what happens is when one of our systems detects motion, it grabs that first 10 to 12 second clip that a couple seconds before and the 9 or 10 seconds after, and it sends that clip through to the operator. The operator, it pops up on their screen in the software that we use as a new alarm. As soon as they click on that, the screen opens up to the dashboard that they use, that they kind of live in all night long. On the left side is that triggering event. They see what it was that triggered it. And on the right side, they see the live view of that particular camera. They can, if it's a site that has multiple camera views on it, they can click through any one of the other views. They can look at the live view from those. Then the next thing they're going to do is they're going to play. They're going to click a button that's called Relay in their software, and what Relay does is it plays a pre-recorded message that's loaded into that camera unit that says, "Warning: this area is closed. Leave immediately. The police are being dispatched." When they're watching them live in the camera stream, in the live stream, let's say you in the gray shirt with the white stripes, I see you carrying the ladder. Put it down. We have you on video. We have a picture. Your picture. The police have been dispatched. Again, anecdotally, 90% of the time, that takes care of the problem. And the person, once they know somebody's watching those cameras and it's not just an alarm that they triggered, they typically will heed the warning and take off running. Then those that don't, the operators are picking up the phone. They're calling whatever the local police are in that jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. They are notifying the client. We have a system where instead of going down a call list and calling the clients at 2 or 3 in the morning, we are dropping video clips and snapshots and images right into, it's almost like a text group in an app that we use that is how we communicate with our clients in an ongoing fashion. So whether it's during the day and they're going to let us know, hey, we're working late tonight, you can pause the alarms until 9 p.m. Or it's us at 2 in the morning saying, we've detected an intruder, we've played the warnings, and police have been dispatched. And then they're updating them with what the outcome was. So that's kind of how most events occur.
Okay. That's interesting. Talk about, I'm a builder. I'm doing a new project. A lot of my clients are multifamily developers, so they're building 1 to 300 unit buildings. How do you engage with a client and figure out how much surveillance is needed for that site? How does it start, or how does it work if I'm trying to first get set up with mobile video guard?
Yeah, so it's very easy. I need a project address and I need a site, preferably a site logistics plan. Something that's going to kind of show me the layout, where the gates are, where the trailers are going to be, where the laydown areas are. That site logistics plan combined with the address, I can then go in and do into takeoff software or into Google Maps and do some measurements to figure out, if I put a camera, at point A, how far am I going to be able to see up this side and up this side? And then I lay out that plan right on that map, that camera plan. I'm always going to attempt to cover the most ground or the most perimeter with the least number of camera units. Like I said, we have 2 versions. One has 2 camera lenses, one has 4. With a 4 camera unit, in theory, I can cover a fence line span of 800 to 900 feet, depending on the lenses, what the kind of ambient lighting in that area is going to be, or if there is any site lighting, that kind of thing. But we can cover up to an 800 or 900 linear foot length with one of those 4 camera units. That allows me to put some long range lenses that are going to be zoomed in down the fence line, and then some wider angle that are going to capture the area closer to the camera. Once I put that site map together, I'm throwing that into our quote and adding in the number of units, whether they need solar, if there's no on-site power, if they're running on a generator, we can use a battery backup unit instead of solar. That'll save some costs there. And then I'm throwing that quote over to them and they review. And as soon as they e-sign on that quote, it starts the process in our shop running, where the operations division gets the order, so to speak, and they get that site map. They've set up the cameras to all be set up for those particular locations. And then if they're here locally in the DC area, and within probably a 3-hour or so driving distance from here, we can come out and install if need be. But most of our across the country job sites, we are shipping the units and they're getting packed up and shipped. And so within a couple of days, they're going to have that camera unit and it's ready to put up. And we've made it very easy to install, so that literally you could have a camera unit up in 5 minutes or less. And once it's connected and up and running, we can then see it and we can do everything else we need to do remotely.
The cameras, I guess there's a couple of different installation options that we spoke about. So in one scenario, I could take that unit and attach it to the structure that I'm building. Mm-hmm. But if I'm earlier stages, I could put it, away from the building or away from the structure on some kind of trailer or mounting position. Is that right?
That's correct. And the way we've designed the mounting system for our camera boxes, you could literally, we've got customers that have strapped it to a tree and run a power cord over to that tree. So it's how we get closest as we can to the power source. And if we're using that, if we're not, then it can go anywhere as long as we can get that good southern sky. But yeah, we mount them on job trailers, on existing light poles, on the building itself. Renovation projects, a lot of times they'll go right on the corner of the building, and we can use the lenses to kind of twist down one side of the building and get two sides of a building with one unit. But yeah, there's a multitude of ways that we've installed them and the customers have installed them.
How about the connectivity of the camera units back to the central site? Mm-hmm. So cellular or other methodology, tell everyone how that functions.
Yeah, I don't need any on-site internet connectivity. Every unit has its own independent cellular modem. So that's how the video clips and the live stream are coming back to the operation center. That's how when a customer opens up an app that they get, once they've set up with us, they get an app on their phone that gives them the live view of all the cameras. That's what's sending. A lot of times if it's a nice, good, wide view of the build site, but also, protecting that area kind of in front of that view, we program that view into our time-lapse portal. So that's what's sending the snapshots for the time-lapse portal that's putting together this nice, marketing piece that the marketing teams love at the end of the project. But it's also a way the project team can go back and double check, on this day, we think this was delivered and, or this was done at a particular part of the building. So it's a good storage place for all those images, but all that's happening with that cellular modem that we put in every unit.
And Shawn, when we first started speaking about this, one of the things that I thought was quite interesting about it is that there's an option for the builders to lease the equipment. They don't have to make a huge capital investment in it. Oftentimes they don't. They need it for the duration of the project. Now, of course, the projects could run 1 to 2 years, but they're not necessarily buying all this equipment. They're deploying it on an as-needed basis. They finish out the project, they stop their lease, and then they plan for the next project and lease again.
Exactly. And we actually don't sell any of our units. I've been asked to on a number of occasions. I've kind of done the math in the background of what we would charge if we sold it. But at the end of the day, this is our goal, if you will, as a company, is to make security easy and effective. So the way I make it, we make it easy for that general contractor is for them not to have to worry about upkeep and getting new equipment, replacing broken equipment, that kind of thing. So if something ever were to go wrong on a site and let's say a delivery truck backs into the pole that the camera's on and the camera falls down and it breaks next to the pole, we're just going to box up a new unit, ship it out to the customer, have them throw the old one in there and ship it back to us, and they're back up and running. So no cost to them. It's all covered under that, low monthly fee. We also believe in not kind of piecemealing pricing, if you will. Like it's a flat rate. You're going to pay for, per type of unit per month. And we have no long-term contracts unless you want a super discounted rate. Then we do some like 36 and 48 month term project stuff. Right. But most of 90%, 95% of the client sites are all on a month-to-month basis. Use it for as long as you need. Just give us 30 days heads up that the project's going to be ending or you're going to be done with the system.
We spoke a lot about over the course of this program that this is a great use case for construction sites, but talk a little bit about where else people are using this technology and where you've seen it to be really effective.
Yeah, so we have projects that are car dealerships, storage facilities. Just last week, we put in another storage facility that's getting broken into after hours and called us originally to get guard service. And we said, yeah, we can do that because here locally, we do have some armed guard with retired law enforcement officers. We can do that for you, but here's a much more cost-effective way. So car dealerships, the storage facilities, remote utility locations. What else? What other kind of places do we have? Shopping centers that are having after-hours dumping issues behind, to the rear of the shopping centers. kind of you name it. We have a little bit of everything out there, but construction is our main focus. And it's, number one, we want to help that project save cost. On average, a construction project using an unarmed guard with a car is going to pay about 75% more per month than they are to implement a full perimeter camera system. So a huge savings there. They've got the ability to go, to track things like accidents and that kind of stuff that may have happened in the video. Safety is a huge thing in the construction industry. And we do everything we can to help with safety. So, the safety directors sometimes will ask for access to the camera so that they can remotely from headquarters do checks of all the sites to make sure, workers are wearing PPE and doing things safely, at least within the camera's views. We're also a reseller for a product. It's called West 3. It's a smoke and heat detection system, as well as an emergency evacuation system that was specifically designed by a company called Ramtech in the UK for the construction industry. They're a wireless communications company. Construction industry in the UK came to them 12 years ago and said, we need a way to protect protect the job sites from fire and that kind of thing after hours, but also to quickly evacuate a system to get the workers out safely. Think about New York, right? You've got a 50-story high-rise building. If there's an emergency and they need to activate and get everybody out of there, they need to do that. The seconds count, right? In terms of getting people out and saving lives. So this West 3 system is, we get a lot of requests for it for wood frame structures from the smoke detection side. It's all wireless, battery operated, works off of a cell card that's in the unit. And easy to put up, easy to take down, and just better coverage, more coverage than, again, putting a fire watch person walking around that building. And then there's the evacuation side of that system where you can have on every floor at every stairwell a system that's got a 90 decibel sounder that goes off in the case of an emergency, telling those workers to get out.
Shawn, when you first started the company, what was the real impact that you wanted to make on A, construction, I guess, B, guarding?
Well, I think for construction, it was to be a better option at a better price. To be more, in the guard, when I owned the guard company, inevitably we had a lot of construction clients, and inevitably I get a call at 6:30 in the morning, and this is mid-project, right? This is they're 6 months into building, and I get a call at 6 a.m. saying, "Hey, we got hit last night. We got broken into. I need a guard here by tonight at 6 p.m. and for the next 12 months, every night of the week, 6 to 6." Right? Great contract. From a company perspective, not a great service that I'm providing in terms of the guards service. And it was frustrating. So when I started this, I wanted to build to where we had the same model, so to speak. So if I get a call at 6 a.m. right now from a job site that got broken into last night, I wanted to get to a point where by that night we could have a solution in place. And here locally, we can do that. We can definitely do that. Worst case scenario, literally we could have it out and ship it overnight, next day air, and you could have it up second day anywhere in the country. So it was about being quick to help when they needed it, have a solution that made sense to use it throughout the project because the cost was low enough that it just made sense then, rather than waiting until something bad happened. And then as we started, we would get the request for, can we use the cameras? Can you do fire detection with them? And we looked at some thermal cameras that do it, and they're very expensive to use those, and they work, but you'd have to have so many to be able to really effectively cover that project, which is what led us down the path of looking for a solution and connecting with Ramtech to implement the West 3 system. So to not only, it goes back to our core value of we want to make security easy and effective so that, a project manager or superintendent, yes, security falls under their responsibility for that project, but they shouldn't have to worry about that. It's not their expertise. It's not their specialty. They should be worrying about building a building. We should be able to do everything we can to help them make security easy and effective and affordable.
Absolutely. I think this was, even when I first met you at Javits and I, spoke to you about the solution and how passionate you are about it, I was immediately attracted to it. I'm certainly going to recommend it to my clients that are builders. And your years and years of law enforcement background, I think that's what, really drives it home, that you really understand what's going on these sites and have, built an amazing solution to protect people and the sites. So, kudos to what you've done here, Shawn.
Thank you.
I guess you're welcome. We're getting to the end of the show, so I want to make sure that everyone understands how to reach you. So on the web and, personally, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So mobilevideoguard.com. Obviously, there's quote request forms on there, contact forms, that kind of thing. I'm big on LinkedIn. So I am admittedly lately, I haven't been posting a lot, but I like posting, like when we have, crazy stuff that happens on a site and that kind of thing. So I have, a lot of LinkedIn connections, and that's probably the best way to connect with me.
That's super. So we're getting to the end of the program. Shawn, thanks for being on today. I'm Jeff Hawk. This is PropTech Today. And remember, PropTech investments today lead to real estate profits tomorrow. That's a wrap. Thanks so much, Shawn.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jeff.